Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dungeons and Destinies. I am your host and DM, Cole Cater. I guess we're all hosts here, but I'm a little bit above everybody else. Just a little bit, tiny bit, a little bit of.
Wow.
You're kind of the DM. That's kind of how this works.
I would like to start this episode by saying a quick disclaimer. All of the music you'll be hearing tonight, hopefully, will be made by the wonderful Michael Gelfi. Check him out on YouTube. He makes a ton of great music. He's a wonderful composer. We're all just now coming off of Thanksgiving. And, you know, I gotta say, I feel like we kind of missed an opportunity. So I want all of our players to give one thing that they're thankful for, either in character or out of character. And I will start. I myself am very, very thankful that all 5 of these people have gathered around a stupid fucking idea that I've made. I genuinely cherish each and every one of you. All of you are amazing. You're great at the game. You have amazing fucking imaginations, and I really, really do enjoy your company.
Aww.
You are so stinky.
I think there was a tear.
I'm not crying.
I'm
You
cutting
are.
this out and putting it in chaos between the dice.
Maybe. We'll see. I guess I'll go next. I'm thankful for Cole for putting so much fucking time and effort into our shenanigans, as well as putting up with our shit when we throw wrenches
Into his bike chains.
Like every time.
very
Every
much
time.
so.
It's pretty often, yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. It's gonna happen continuously.
Sorry.
Aaron,
What?
your turn.
Oh. I'm really grateful that we have this group together. Like, I used to know all you guys in high school, and I never thought we'd have a D&D group together, honestly. On to Kate.
Oh, fuck. Well, I gotta say, I am thankful for all these guys. I don't know. I probably would not have made it through the year if we hadn't started playing D&D, not gonna lie. And I'm also thankful for Bo, because this is gonna get a little sad for a second. It's
What
nice
is it?
having a character... Shut up. It's nice having a character that also has parental issues, because catharsis. Anyways, Zoe, your turn.
Oh, okay. I should have gone earlier because now it sounds like I'm just piggybacking off of everybody else's what they're grateful for.
It's
But
fine.
We're
We're allowed to be
am-
grateful for the same shit.
I think so. I'm very grateful,
I
especially
disagree.
to Cole. Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, Cole. You
But-
have rights.
To
why you're
Cole
playing
and
D&D.
to everybody else, because I'm still very, very new to D&D, and I just moved across the country and have no friends here. So it's really cool to have like an outlet and be able to talk to people. And I'm really excited that I got the opportunity to not only meet all of you, but to also dip my toes into D&D. So, yeah. Is that all of us? No.
Austin,
your turn.
Austin.
Yay! Yeah, I'm thankful for all of you. Because I've always wanted to get into D&D, but I was always too busy and I never had the time. So I'm grateful for finally having the time to get together with all you beautiful people that I've known in my life and play some of this D&D. It's amazing, and it's one of the very few things I look forward to in the week. Makes it go by a lot quicker.
Without any further ado, unless anybody else has anything they want to say, we will jump into tonight's episode.
Cool.
All of the art that you see on screen that isn't the
God
map
damn
and
it.
is of the characters is by Magnus's player.
I'm someone's child.
And I take it the turkey's being drawn by Magnus's
Yeah, that-
character.
I always
I
like the
haven't
little chest
touched-
hats on the ends of the legs.
I haven't
Yeah, that's me.
touched the little.
Okay, so welcome back to the bright and fey-infested world of Aracretia. last we left off, our players had managed to rescue one of their very own from the hands of slavers, and making their way out of the small town of Azima, they managed to not only help the town deal with a slaver problem, they managed to also severely hinder a young man's life.
Oh,
However,
rub the salt in that wound. Thank you.
Thanks.
well, I mean, it's true.
Ouch.
It
Um,
is true. We kind of fucked that one up.
You were all given a stern talking to by Falmorn Whisperwind, the matron guard of Azima. And making your way out of the town, you all decided to travel without the help of the Griftmore family, the family that controls all mail and trade throughout the entire country of Lineral. Making your way along the winding, kind of strange dirt paths of the Reprieve, which is the area of Liveleqoir you're currently in, you guys began noticing different things. One of them was definitely very strange. A couple scarecrows came out of a field towards you. But as the days went on, you all learned a little bit more about each other. You all discussed things and got a little bit deeper into why you are journeying with the people you are with. You encountered a bit of a trickster, but ended up being a friend. One of you gained another weapon, and the rest of you traveled on. You gained a new friend as well, a new accomplice in the form of a farmer's wife, and one of you even won a brawl. Walking across the green, strewn, rolling hills of the Reprieve with an overcast day most of the time, strange, weird walking creatures catching the wind made of sticks and sail, you all ended up on the lip of what seems to be a crater created by a meteor. It's a massive divot in the ground. And rising over that hill, you looked down and saw before you the oldest city in Lenarol, Alathor, the capital of Liveleqoir, and all of its greatness, in its grain stone and its strange twisting buildings and the massive sprawling scape that it is. With that, we will pick up tonight's episode. You all stand on this lip overlooking the city of Alathor, the farmer's wife still behind you.
Great. I guess we're gonna go into the city, obviously.
Yeah, I guess we'll just start
Okay.
walking down.
All right. So, choosing to go along the path further towards the city, you all begin to walk, make your way down. Dusty has a little bit difficult terrain going down. It's a very sharp incline at first. It's, even though it's been smoothed over from hundreds of years of travel, the road is still quite a high percentage of grade.
I'm like,
and as you...
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm like staying in front of him, probably like slipping and sliding with him. I'm assuming it's like soft dirt.
Yeah. The road itself is like a pathway that's just mud at this point.
Yeah.
So as you begin to get closer to it, you realize that the city is so large that what you were looking at is about half a mile away, and that it just looked closer because it is just massive. For like out of character relation, this city would probably house about 30,000 people, which is quite a bit in medieval times.
Damn.
So as you continue walking, you start to come across now cobblestone-laden paths, and you start to hear the sounds of the outside of the cities. The great walls of green-hued, moss-covered, vine-overgrowing stone connecting three large towers, kind of towering over what looks to be like not slums or shanty towns, but as though a city were built on the outside of another city, like suburbs. tons of buildings. As you continue to walk in, you begin hearing the sounds of daily city life, people talking, chattering, tons of just movement, vibrance, and for the first time in a while, you feel once again in civilization. So, what would all of you like to do?
Oh man.
I was just gonna look at Rue and just be like, well, you were kind of the most important one here, Feathers.
What?
Oh, look at Daenerys.
You meant look at Daenerys. You said Rue.
Oh, well, my bad. I'm dumb.
I was like,
retconning. It's okay.
Can you tell I woke up at 5:30 in the morning today? It's not great.
It's fine. Anyways.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on.
Feathers, right? I'm looking up Feathers.
Well, let's get ourselves our bearings here. Maybe we can find an inn of some sort. It's been quite a long journey.
What time is it roughly right now?
Let's see. So, I forgot the timeline. I think it's in the afternoon by now.
Yeah. Okay.
If only one of us had keen mind.
Cry about it.
So,
For telling
as
the
you all
time.
are kind of like standing here discussing, I need to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh.
I need one of you to make a perception check for me.
What's it gonna
Oh.
be?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Y'all took too long. Too late.
I already rolled the. Okay.
What is my? It's plus 2, 16.
16. You know, I don't know why I make you guys do this. Because every time I do it, I'm like, oh wait, they would just fucking be passive perception. I'm sorry. I'm not a good DM.
You're doing great.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 16, but my passive is 12.
It's fine. It's whatever. So as you're kind of like standing at the threshold of entering the city, these strange, large stone buildings all around you, kind of encompassing you. Each one has a pitched roof. The green stone kind of littering the buildings themselves. Moss and vines overgrowing the stone itself. You can tell that the city is very old. But in front of you, you see a man with a long white beard, and he's missing an eye. And it looks like it's like a fresh wound that's healed over. And he's standing like in the middle of a crowd, and he's like, "It happened! It happened, I tells ya! It happened, it gored my eye out! Oh, don't go to Meat Alley! Don't go to Meat Alley, it'll get you!" And a bunch of people around him are like, "What the... Oh, the old man's rambling again. Oh, he probably plucked his eye out, and now he's thinking he was a monster."
Oh. That's peculiar.
You think it was one of those scarecrows?
Well,
Scarecrow?
and
I-
where was it? Mead Valley? Where's that?
Is he rambling on about a place or a creature? Like, would we know?
It's both. He's like, "It got me! It tore my eye out right in Mead Alley!"
Would any of us know
Not you.
roughly where that would be?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. I just had to ask. I'm gonna turn to the party and be like, do we want to interfere with this, or we don't want to kind of mind our own business this one time and go find an inn?
If he keeps talking, we can at least listen to what he's saying.
I'm sure, but you know.
I am rather curious, but I think we should probably move along.
It would never hurt to talk to him.
I mean, unless it's a scam and somebody's waiting around a pickpocket.
That's very true.
Last
That
time
can
I talked to
happen.
an old man, I got a blood curse. I'd really rather not.
So, moving on then?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, what are you guys doing? Are you guys kind of investigating the city more, trying to find an inn, talking to people, going straight to the inner city?
I think
Look
we're
for
looking around looking for an inn.
Yeah, that's what was suggested.
Okay.
Can I look for a post office too?
Yeah. That'll take you some time,
How much
but
time?
it'll take you a couple hours because the post office is in the other side of the city.
Oh, okay. Then I'll hold off on that.
So asking around, you all kind of begin to hear different things. Like Magnus, as you're talking to one, you hear, "Oh, you want an inn? You could go up to Clear Row. It's silken sheets. It's very fancy. You look like the type of guy who has a lot of coin to spend." Lothric, as you're talking to somebody else, you hear, "Oh yeah, you could try the Bone Man's Cupboard. That's in Hayward, but
God damn it.
it's all right." And Bo, as you're talking to somebody, you hear, "Well, you could try either the Gooey Virgin or the Paladin's Drink."
Jesus Christ.
Why is it always me that finds these things?
Because it's a funny trope that I like.
The paladin's what and the gooey drink?
No,
No,
the Paladin's Drink and the Gooey Virgin.
Oh, cool.
Damn.
I'm.
Great.
God
But-
damn it.
As you're talking, and the general consensus is, as you begin to like kind of feel your way through the city, there are like a ton of different precincts of this city. It's super old, so they have like different areas, right? So one of them is called Meat Alley, another one is called Wool Circle, there's one called Hayward. As you all are discussing, the general consensus is the best inn to go to would be Earth and Wind.
And that was the one that I was told about?
You were told about no, you were told
Silken sheets.
Yeah,
Silken
that's
sheet.
right.
Each of you got different responses, but all of you got the same response of Earth and Wind. Like being given a list.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll kind of convene back with one. Are we, like, we're all split up, or are we, like, in a group asking
you kind of
around?
like. I would assume. I don't really know, but I would assume that you guys kind of like split up in a single street and then asked a bunch of people.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, what is the old lady doing now that she's in the city?
The old lady.
That's just the
That
farmer's
we,
wife.
with the necklace
Oh,
that we tagged
right.
along with us?
She's not old.
Or the
Oh,
lady?
oops. The lady? Sorry.
She's kind of just following you guys still.
Oh, okay. I turn to her then and just say, I don't mean to be rude, but we're kind of at your stop. Is there anything else you would need from us?
Right. Sorry.
You're
I
fine.
guess it's just been a couple. I kind of forgot. Yeah. No.
You're fine, man. Like, it's no rush. We just wanted to know.
Well, no. I don't really. I mean, like, she kind of like gestures to the bustling city around you, tall stone buildings, and she's like,
You've never
guess
been
I'd-
around?
No, I honestly don't know even where to start.
Why don't... Okay, here, I'll make you a deal. Whatever inn we go to, probably Earth and Wind, why don't you go, like, try and get a job there, and then start making some coin?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, sure. Hey, I don't remember. Did we discuss payment? Do you, and she begins to take off the necklace she showed you, the...
No. Put whatever it is away.
Are you
don't
sure?
need to pay me.
You can use it for yourself to, like you said, start a new life.
Oh, well, I appreciate it very much, thank you.
No
Just-
problem.
Keep an eye on it.
Be safe, for the love of God.
I'll try.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll gather up with the rest of the group and we'll talk about whenever we're gone.
Okay.
I'll wave her off and like make sure she gets to somewhere-ish safe.
She's going to be following you to the.
Oh yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
okay, never mind.
that-
Just kidding.
that-
Ah.
that-
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Follow us to the inn and then get a job.
Okay. My brain turned off for a second. My bad.
It's
Okay,
okay.
so you all kind of reconvene in the center of the street. People kind of like moving around you. What are you guys discussing?
So, Earth and Wind? That's kind of what we found to be the best outlook.
Yeah, that's what I heard from some other people as well. Any other objections? I had a suggestion from someone for a really, really fancy one. If like Tenaris were for some reason wanting to do a more upper scale one, I personally wouldn't
Be
rather
okay.
spend the coin. But how many
Yeah, we're
rooms are
a
we
little
wanting?
short on coin.
I
One
don't
or-
mind doing one again. But
I think Earth and Wind would be fine. If it was widely suggested, then how bad can it truly be?
we're not going to the ones that people suggested to me.
Why? What got suggested?
No. I will
They
tell
suggest
you
you.
later.
All right.
I agree on that too. I mean, with Bo's predicament, it's called the Bone Man's Cupboard.
Ah!
Oh, come on! Are you fucking kidding me?
Seems quite hospitable.
So at Bo, as you kind of like, oh come on, a few people are kind of like they kind of like jump and like take a few steps back and stare at you.
Sorry, go about your business. You're fine.
Begin walking.
Maybe let's not draw attention to ourselves at the moment.
Have you seen yourself?
Fuck you. Earth and Wind.
So?
Where are we going?
Earth and Wind it is. All right. So you quickly ascertain that you're currently in South Row, the southernmost part of the city. Earth and Wind is one of the inns closer to House Castle, which is like another precinct, which is built solely around Castle Basilius. It's in Eideron, which is another precinct below that. So it's in the inner city.
Ooh.
We head to the inner city then.
No other choice.
All right, we'll go there.
All right. So
Um,
you all... Oh, go ahead.
Are there like any guards around?
Yeah, there are a few.
Can Daenerys walk up to one of them, please?
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, sir.
He doesn't respond.
Daenerys pulls out her royal insignia and is like, "Do you know how I can notify the king that I've arrived?"
He kind of like glances at you, looks you up and down, looks at the royal insignia. Well, they'll probably stop you at the... Oh, blast, what's it called? Oh...
This is like his first week on the job.
And you can see he starts zoning out.
Sir?
When he stops talking. Oh, yes, how may I help you?
Are you all right there?
Just fine. And he starts
Oh.
zoning out again.
Daenerys, you need some help?
Maybe we'd be better
Smart.
off finding a guard matron.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
They seem to actually have a bit more know around. Besides, these guys have probably been standing outside all day.
Matron is, oof.
Come on, big guy, you can do it.
Oh.
Is he like having a medical issue?
I give him guidance.
You can check. You can make a medicine check if you want to.
I would like to, just out of a little bit of concern here. Let's see. Fuck, fucking can't make anything. 6?
A 6?
Fucking 6.
From what I mean, you've like seen this a couple times, especially because you're a cleric and you've dealt with this. There's a bit too many healing herbs in his system. We'll just say that.
Jesus.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, it's
Understood.
it's probably at I think it's at Raven's End.
Got it.
Will stop us at Raven's End?
The
Or the matron?
The matron.
Thank you.
He just starts zoning out again.
Have a good one.
He just
At
starts
some point.
I'm gonna just offer my arm to Daenerys, just like maybe we should look for the guard matron another instance.
At some point, I'm just gonna look for a stable as well, whenever we have the time.
Easy enough. You're currently in South Row. There are tons of stables here.
Okay, I'll just load up Dusty in whatever one's close enough and head back to the group.
Okay, it'll cost you 2 silver per night to keep Dusty there.
Okay. I don't have any silver. Will a gold piece too?
Yeah, that'll be 5 nights.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That sounds hopefully enough.
Alright. 5 nights paid for. Fuck yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, so what are you guys doing? Are you going to the matron station or into the inner city?
Matron station, since Daenerys showed interest in finding it.
Yeah, let's go to the matron station.
Okay, so the matron station is in Raven End. So, you'll have to go through the inner city anyway, now that I'm looking at my map, because it is in the north side of the city.
Oh, and we're in the southern part?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if anything, we can probably just stop by Earth and Wind, get our key, then head over, head back, get a good look around the city. Or
hopefully get
a
our friend a job.
Oh, yeah.
Small portion of the city.
So sorry, ma'am. I completely forgot you were here. You're very quiet sometimes.
It's fine. My husband did it all the time. I
I'm
don't mind.
so sorry.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Have
you even told us your name?
No, that's the hilarious part.
What's your... God damn it. What's your name?
My name's, Fuck, what is it? Hang on, let me find it. My name's Gidda.
G-I-R-A?
Gydda.
Thank you.
Well, Gira, what are you good at? So we can kind of know what we're looking for.
Old Wolf always told me I was good at looking like a pig.
Oh.
Let's not go off of your husband's standards, please. What are you actually good at?
I mean, I like to think I'm half decent at cooking, but, well, that's probably not the case.
Well, I mean,
Perfect.
You can try your hand at anything. Perhaps
let's just head to Earth and Wind, since she was gonna look for a job there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Earth and Wind it is.
That sounds good by me.
Fantastic. Off we go then.
All right.
I can't fucking believe we never asked this poor woman her
I
name.
could have sworn that we did, and then I had to think back on it. I was like, no, we never asked this lady her name. She made us espresso, and we didn't ask her jack shit.
23 shots of espresso and nothing.
Jesus.
So you all begin to walk through the very heavily condensed, like, these roads are not like the roads that were in Cobalt. They go from very small to very wide to very small again. Walking through this city, you understand and begin to realize the reason why it is the way it is because it's so old. There were no regulations when building. You see the same kind of stone that Cobalt is made out of, except it's cobbled instead of, like, plated. And instead of that blue hue, it's kind of turned from, like, you know how bronze turns to green?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like that nice
kind
patina.
It's
copper.
Copper, whatever. Bronze does it too, I think. I don't know. Fuck it.
I don't know.
It's kind of that hue. It's gone into that kind of soft green, kind of palish color. And you begin to walk, and buildings all around you are very strange. And as you start to come up onto the 80-foot high stone walls, you see four guards either side of a great big entryway. And this is the largest entry and exit into the city itself.
Wow.
And in front of you, you watch as the four guards, as people begin making their way in and out, the four on one side, on the left side, begin stopping people, asking them questions, patting them down, taking their weapons, and removing them, and putting them in a bag or in like a section area off. And as people come out, the other guards on the other side grab weapons and hand them out to them.
Is this like... Is this where our inn like would be, or is this just
This
to
is
the...
the entrance to the inner city.
Okay. Well, and we see all of this going on, right?
Yeah, you
I
clearly see.
had figured, but I know some of us aren't going to like this, and I'm gonna pointedly look at Bo and Lothric. But with some city customs, this is actually pretty normal. Please don't start a fight. I'd rather not go to jail.
I'll try my best.
All right, so the
And we'll walk
line
up.
moves up a bit. And you guys spend a couple more minutes waiting before you all get to the front. And one guard, very cleanly shaven, he's got stark black hair, and he looks pale. This is like... He looks like a fucking, like, Twilight vampire. He's crazy.
Ugh.
Super pale, stark black hair. He's got, like, piercing brown eyes. And he's dressed in guard armor, but it's different. It's not the matron armor you've seen before, but it's of a higher class. You can tell that this guy is probably of a higher respect in the guard standing. And he kind of like, as you all approach, he says, right, we got to stop and take your weapons. You first, and he points to Magnus. What is your business in the city?
We're actually here to visit the king. I'm gonna point back to Daenerys, Princess Daenerys of Drathian. Got a letter from him a week or two ago.
Alright, bring me the letter.
Daenerys hands him the letter.
And insignia?
Holds it out.
Okay, he kind of looks at both. Then he reaches into a satchel on his back, pulls out a leather quill, and dips it in ink, and then marks it off and, like, kind of signs it. He says, alright, you're allowed in, we need your weapons. And then he kind of looks around and he says, right, Princess Daenerys, are they with you?
Yes, they are.
Alright. And he points to Rue. Sorry. Are you a worshipper?
Pardon? I'm sorry.
Are you a sister of Irona?
Yes. Yes.
Alright, you may keep your weapons. Everyone else, welcome over.
Cole, I have a question.
Okay.
Can I... Are these, like, they're not inspecting the weapons at all, they're just taking in them and storing them?
Yeah, they're just taking them and making sure.
Okay. As a precautionary, I would like to use prestidigitation to kind of, like, rusty my sword a little bit over certain areas.
Oh, okay. Alright, yeah, sure. You can do that.
And just...
It won't last very long.
No, yeah, I know. That's fine. But... Just, like, not noticeably, but just, you know, over certain areas. I'm just gonna take off my... What do I have? I actually have to check because if I... Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take off my 2 daggers and my rapier. hand them over, like wrap them up
Okay.
nicely so they're
Are those
tied
all the
together.
weapons you have? Because I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I have 2 daggers and a rapier.
Okay, so
Would a
kind of like-
lute count? What a violin?
Another guard steps up and kind of like grabs them, and he's like, you can see that he takes your rapier and he's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. And he takes it and he gives it to another guard who rushes into the side of the wall itself, into like a wooden door. And then that guy comes back out, and then the guard standing in front of you with the better armor points to Bo and Lothric.
Are we-
All right, you two.
Sorry. Are we gonna need
just-
retrieval for our names for retrieval on those?
We'll be marking it down under Princess Dorathian, don't worry.
Of course. No worries.
I'd take off my. Yeah, I guess I'd take off the scabbard that holds the that holds the claymore. So I'll just unbuckle that and hand it them in the scabbard and my crossbow and all the bolts.
Okay. He kind of like weighs them. All right, and he gives them to someone else.
And I'll go ahead and do the same.
All right. With your, is that with all of your weapons?
That is correct. The dagger, longsword, and the 2 great swords.
Okay. He kind of like, you can hold a lot, can't you? And he and holds them over. And with that, he says, right, I had a message for when she would show up. And he kind of like pats his like satchels and goes around to the other one on his back and pulls it out, and he unfurls it and says, you all are supposed to wait at the Earth and Wind Inn until a representative can come and finish with... Oh, what is that? And he kind of like shows it to another guard, and he says, formalities, sir. And he's like, right, formalities. And then he looks at Rue and he says, safe travels, sister.
Of course, thank you.
Real quick, DM.
Mm-hmm.
Could I make an insight check to make sure these guys aren't being shifty?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's a 4. Fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, they're guards.
Home slice, they're just doing their job. I don't think everyone is about to get out. Is out to fucking get us. Jesus Christ!
I'm sorry, it's the formalities that weirded me out.
And then, well, he just has a hard time to read, dog.
Okay, fair enough.
And then he says to Daenerys, he says, you may keep your weapons, but please do not unshackle them or unleash them in the presence of any nobility, or we will have to take action.
Yes, of course.
All right. And with that, he kind of steps out of the way, and he beckons for you all to move forward, and beckons other guards to stop people trying to come in.
And so we move through.
All right.
Once we get, like, to a decent-ish away from the guards, like, within out of earshot, can I lean over to Rue and be like, what the fuck is the sister of the what? Huh?
It's just the goddess that we worship.
Oh, I didn't know
you
that.
worshipped a different one.
No.
Okay.
That's interesting. I'll have to ask you more about that later. Remind me.
Sure.
Could you say the name of that goddess, Zoe?
Was it
It's Irona.
Irona?
Okay, thank you.
So
For some
what
reason, my brain put Iris, and I was like, I know that's not right.
Bo and what everybody else would know, except for probably Daenerys, is that Lenarol worships Irona as the patron goddess of humanity. She's like the goddess of possibility and imagination.
Oh, okay.
In addition to that, Rue hasn't told you yet, so I won't tell you guys what is going on with that. But people typically also worship the goddess Tithys, even though she's seen as like evil and kind of the spawn of all fear. She is married to Irona, so they have to worship them hand in hand.
I would know that because I read a book on them once.
Very true.
Cool. So I guess we're gonna go to the inn.
Earth and wind, earth
Yeah.
and wind, earth and wind. Magnus just
Earth and
scanning
wind,
buildings.
Go.
Let me put those in the chat. Okay, so you all, as you kind of enter the inner city, you begin to see that what were buildings before, like, they were pretty stable, the roads were strange. The roads become even worse, and the buildings themselves in the inner city are fucking crazy. Some of them are slanted as much as 15 degrees. Others are kind of, you see that many overhang the streets themselves, like very old British cities do, where huge counterweights lay on the back of the building to keep it from toppling over entirely. Others are held up, no shit, by straight up like 2x4s struck into the mud. And it is just like it's chaos. The roads don't go the ways you think they do. The buildings themselves are strange. The people themselves perfectly know what they're doing, which is astonishing to you. It takes you guys much longer than you assume it should to find Earth and Wind, but you do eventually find it. It's one of the newer buildings, and you can tell that it's been built on a foundation, unlike many others. The building itself is small, one story with a pitched roof, but it's very long. It's built almost like a hearth house for like old Nords, like in Skyrim.
Nice.
It's all wood on the outside. There's like 3 windows, and that's about it. Other people are bustling and hustling behind you. Yeah, what would you all like to do?
Just go in then.
Yeah, go into the inn.
Just enter.
Okay.
Actually, no. First, I'm gonna give a little pep talk to Gita.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna gently hold her by the shoulders and just be like, "All right, you got this." Deep breaths, and I'm brushing off any dirt
She's
on her shoulders.
Like she's super tense. She's like, yeah, I got this. You're right.
I'm gonna give her guidance.
Deep breaths, deep breaths.
Okay.
And inspiration.
Roll a persuasion check for me, Bo.
Oh, God.
Where's my
15.
fucking... There it is.
15? Okay, so
Yeah.
she'll gain advantage on whatever check she chooses.
Hell yeah.
As you all walk into Earth and Wind, you realize that it's a very well maintained inn. There are exactly 4 sets of tables and chairs either side of this long hallway. At the end is a bar, and there stands a woman with gray skin and bright purple, sharp hair. Oh no, sorry. She has marble white skin with cracks of black going through it and bright purple, sharp white hair. She has deep gray eyes, and as you look around the inn, you begin to notice there is one large hearth fire in the middle that is sitting unlit. The room itself has 4 doors either side, leading into the inn rooms, you assume. And when you look up, you see it's a pitched thatch roof, and on top of coming down from the roof's rafters, there's crystals that are spinning and glinting, and as the sun hits them, it casts these lights of purple, green, blue, yellow, just all around. And higher up, hanging off of the roof itself, there's a series of strange wooden boxes and barrels and things lying in them. You stand sort of at the entryway of this long hallway with these different glowing, almost like disco lights of different colors shimmering and moving around you. And at the back stands this woman. As she looks up and she says, "Oh, welcome in. Come in, come in. Welcome to Earth and Wind."
I love
Thank
your
you.
ceiling.
Thank you.
Magnus is just staring at it like, if I ever buy myself a house, I'm doing this.
Well, it took me a while to put it together, but I'm glad it came out right.
This is real nice.
It looks
It almost reminds me of
beautiful.
home.
I sure hope it does. That is, well, what an inn is for, isn't it not? And as you guys kind of like look around, you see that there are on each of the tables of the 4 tables either side, there's a centerpiece of a crystal, and yeah, it's pretty interesting.
So,
Lucky to go up to the front counter.
What? No,
What?
she's standing behind you, afraid.
oh. So, do you deal in coin or favors?
Well, most of the villages and towns around here, they deal in favors and food and such, but the city here itself deals in coin.
Awesome.
Thank God.
Come
So,
in, please. Don't be strange. Come in.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking to get a room or two. Are we getting one room or two?
Probably 2, because we all can't pile into one bed.
I'd certainly say that the rooms are quite small, so keeping each of you, all 5 of you, I'm assuming. Oh, 6. Sorry, I can hardly see you back there. All 6 of you in one room would be quite difficult. And at that, Geta kind of like steps out and she says, actually, I was wondering if, well, see, I'm new to the city, and I sort of, it's sort of like a new life site sort of thing, and she kind of like looks panically at Bo for help.
Deep breaths. You'll do fine.
All right. Are you hiring? Do you need any help? And she's like, well, we could always use a bit of extra help here and there. Why don't you come talk to me after we get your compatriots settled in?
Oh,
Sounds good.
I suppose that works.
Yeah, sounds alright.
I give her
Who's
like a
bonding
nice
with who?
toothy smile, thumbs up, like you're doing great.
Get a kind of just like
Bo-
nods.
I was just gonna say that Bo like pats her on the back like twice and just says, "You got this."
Thank you. So the woman at the bar says, right, my name is coincidentally Amethyst. I'm an Earth Genasi, as you might have been able to tell. This is my humble abode, I suppose. So will it be 1 room or 2? It's a gold per night, which I know it sounds like a lot, and I apologize, but, well, we break quite a bit of things, and at that you hear, ching, 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 shit! Oh, shite! Oh, damn it! Oh! And you hear, ching, 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 and you hear, and you hear, oh, God, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. From like a room in the back.
I just look at Tenarius and just like mouth, "What the fuck?"
Quite the
Oh.
place for them to tell the royalty to wait, huh?
Hey, at least it's
Do you say
pretty.
that?
Well, she whispers it to Bo.
Oh, okay. And she says,
Shut up, be nice.
she's like, oh, I'm sorry. That's. Oh, and she kind of like turns around, turns heel, and runs into the back, and you hear like quick hush discussion, and then she comes back out holding hands with another woman. You see this woman is, she has a much more petite frame, whereas Amethyst is, for all intents and purposes, very voluptuous. She's
Hotness check.
She's curvy.
go ahead,
curvy
dude. I don't
woman.
care.
But she's
Um,
Check.
And that's a natural 20.
Sure.
She is holding hands with another woman as she comes out. She has a more petite frame, and her clothing and hair seem to move and flow as if there's a slight breeze hitting her. Her skin is a light blue, and it makes a very strong contrast to the white and black lines of Amethyst. She has light gray eyes, and her hair itself is wispy, like bluish and white. And she kind of like, oh, sorry, I'm a bit clumsy. And you watch as Amethyst kind of like nudges her a little bit, and she goes, I'm really sorry. That won't be happening a lot. I promise."
Honestly, you're fine. I'm sure it was an accident. Surprisingly enough, we're more than used to it by now.
Oh, well, all right. Right. My name is Ciro. I am Amethyst's fiance.
You two make a lovely couple, let me just say.
They kind of like look at each other and both smile, and then Ciro goes back through the door and into the back again.
Well, I believe 2 rooms would be okay.
How many nights are we thinking of staying? We have
Depends
Dusty
how
up for a
long.
week. Do we just want to put a week down?
Might
Maybe
be
3
for
days?
best.
I think a week would be a good precaution, because we don't know how long we're staying here, do we?
I would hope not for very long, but
Well, if you stay, you might catch the nobility coming into town. We were informed to let any and all nobility or something. There's a noble coming in, and they get to stay for free because they're nobility. But
Daenerys steps forward. She's
stay a
like,
bit longer.
You said there's a nobility coming through.
Well, yeah, we were informed about 2 weeks ago that nobility would be coming in right about now.
10.
He gets all excited and
10.
like tries to pull out her insignia, but then like drops it on the floor.
Oh, are you all right?
No.
But, I'm Lady Dorathian from the Floating Isles, and I've come here to stay at your inn.
Her face fucking lights up. She's like, "Oh, that's wonderful! Oh my goodness!" And she hurries around the bar and grabs your hand and begins shaking it very like vigorously. She's like, "It's so nice to meet you."
Nice to meet you as well.
I like to imagine that there's a few feathers, like,
yeah, falling off. Yeah, you can. Hell, you could take any room you wanted. All rooms. We're getting paid by the king himself, so it's no bother.
Sure about that.
Oh,
We-
of course.
We can still pay if you like.
No. Like I said, we're getting what we need from the king. He's really he's a great man. Yeah, please take any rooms. The food won't be too good, and she kind of like looks at Gita and she says, "Do you have any practice cooking?" And Gita kind of like, "Oh, right, yeah. Yes, I do. I have a little bit."
She
She's like,
makes a mean batch of coffee if you let her. Very strong.
Certainly. Here. We'll get you your own room, Gita, and then we'll discuss the details later. Go in the back and talk with Ciro. She should be more than willing to accompany. And Gita's like, right, yes, ma'am. And she hurries off into the back.
Oh,
Oh, good.
well, good. I'm
We
glad.
got- Good.
I'll have you know that word of your compassion will reach the royal houses.
Oh, it's not compassion at all. It's what you do when you show royalty, isn't it?
Well, we appreciate it.
Right. So now that you're here, I have to send word. Well, maybe the guards already did. She kind of like, she drops your hands. And she's like, right. Well, I'll tell them to get started on some food, and you guys can settle in. If you sit at one of the tables, you'll see. And she kind of like turns around and she says, "Oh, I've got to get my books ready," and she starts walking into the back.
I like her. They're sparkly.
It's very pretty in here. I don't suppose we should just go to our rooms for just a moment?
I would like to go to our rooms for a moment, please.
Of course.
I'm saying this now, and I'm pointing to Rue. You are not going alone.
Oh yeah, I was also about to say, as Rue walks up the stairs, Magnus is right behind her.
So there are no stairs. This is a single floor building.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Rue's going to smile just gratefully, and not say much as they all go to the 2 rooms that they picked.
Okay, so who's going where?
10, are you gonna be wanting your own room for this? Your Royal Highness, I'm gonna do a really exaggerated bow.
Out to me, Magnus.
Just stand back up, just laughing.
Lothric, where are you going?
Well, haven't decided yet. I wanted to see where everybody else was going.
Well, decide now.
Well, Rue's going to a room. Rue kind of looks towards Daenerys and Magnus. If I feel like I recall us mentioning earlier, is it okay if I room with you guys?
Of course,
Oh,
I don't
yes,
mind
of
if...
course.
I guess that leaves the boys together?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh,
I'm okay with that.
look at the blooming romance.
As I'm walking by to the room that Lothric and I are staying in, I'm gonna smack Magnus on the back of the head.
Ah!
Okay.
As he does that, I'm going to lightly... Can you do lightly? Produce
Oh, no.
flame at him?
Oh shit!
God.
So you can do it without intention to harm.
Yeah. I'm not
Okay.
wanting to harm him. I'm just wanting to, like, you know, whenever you do a hairspray bottle in the lighter and you just the one time?
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't be an asshole. And he just walks in.
Okay. So, Daenerys, Rue, and Magnus, you all go to your associated room. Bo and Lothric, as you enter your room and you close the door,
Oh god.
nothing happens. You're just in a room.
You're
You
Funny.
both find
I knew this was coming.
the 2 groups find the rooms to be immaculately decorated. There are silken sheets hung over feathered beds with threads of gold mixed with navy blues and light purples, kind of adorning the walls. There are like soft yellow curtains over the window, and it is divided into 3 adjacent areas. While very small, there is sort of like a room divider that blocks the way for a wash tub, and there is another room divider that's unpulled that you assume is for like changing.
Is there a place where I can wash my clothes?
There's a wash tub.
fancy.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna just look at Lothric and say, turn around, I'm gonna wash my filthy ass.
Start the wall.
You can go into the washroom. There's a divider there for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. Don't look over the divider. You stay on that side of the room and I stay on this one.
No homo.
You're gonna-
Socks stay
you're
on.
li-
Oh my god.
Just make a line of tape straight down the middle.
How many?
I get half, motherfucker!
How many beds situation? Is it just like one bed per room?
It's 1 per.
Oh, I figured.
Lothric, you get the bed.
Fine by me. I'll be
Magnus-
nice and toasty in the bed and the sheets.
Magnus is gonna start rolling out his bedroll next to the bed, just like smoothing it out and everything.
Okay.
Daenerys is gonna go to the washroom.
All right. So you may all take a short rest while you do these things.
Can I go to back to the what is her name? Amethyst, and
Amethyst.
ask her if she has a perch.
A perch?
Like a perch for
Oh, for a bird?
Daenerys.
So the roof is still pitched, so Daenerys could fit easily on like the
On the beams?
On like the
on
rafter?
beams, yeah, on the rafter.
Okay.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Never mind then.
Awesome.
Do you have a
Rue's gonna
perch?
wake up.
Never
Rue's
mind.
gonna wake up like late at night and just like look up and there's just Daenerys just on the rafter.
Just up there.
Okay.
Like, right above her.
So now that you all are doing whatever you're doing, you hear like it takes about an hour or two, and eventually you hear the door to the front open and close, and hear, "I'm here on behalf of the king himself," and you hear, "Oh, yeah, come in." And you hear like kind of a scuffle. He says, "No need to bow. I'm not royalty." She says, Right. They're in their current rooms, and they're kind of getting sorted." And he says, "Well, then bring them out." And he says, right." And then very quickly you hear Rue, Magnus, and Daenerys. You hear a knock on your door, and you hear, "Apologies, the representative is here."
Daenerys would go out.
And then Lothric and Bo, you also hear that.
I finished washing myself at this point, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would hope. Do you take an hour shower?
Well, no, I don't know. I have to wash my clothes too.
Fair point. Rue's just gonna follow and go out with Daenerys.
Okay.
Well, are you gonna take the door, or should I?
I'll get the door.
Cool.
And Lothric goes and opens up the door.
And you see kind of like Amethyst kind of like a little bit like bent over at like almost as though she's like subconsciously afraid of what's happening, and she's kind of like, "Oh right," and she backs up and goes back to behind the bar. "Can I get you anything, Mister?" And he says, "My name is Anlaf, and yes, I'll take. Do you have any brandy?" And she says, "I can certainly check." And as you all kind of come out, he takes a seat at one of the tables and pulls up. He like counts your heads and pulls up a couple more. And he says, "Please sit down. Daenerys, of course, needs to sit at the head of the table."
Daenerys takes the head of the table.
As this is all happening, I'm gonna go ahead and cast Disguise Self.
Okay.
Just like the last description that I used for Disguise Self, I'm using that.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I think
fuck
it was
was
an
it? Yeah.
elf.
I think it was an elf.
I think
Alright,
it was just Magnus, just like minus the Magnus part of it.
So the rest
Magnus
of you
minus
watch
fire.
as Magnus, but does not come out, but an elf does that only Bo and Lothric recognize.
Daenerys just looks really strangely at this elf character.
Okay.
I'm still wearing like Magnus's clothes and everything, and I still look like Magnus, just like different colors are added in. And my hair doesn't flow. So I think, what was it? I had black hair and dark skin still. Yeah. That.
Something like that.
Something like that. Sorry, continue.
Did that character go by a different name? I can't remember.
No.
No.
Just still Magnus?
Alright.
Okay.
So
Just
you
making
all,
sure.
I'm guessing, take a seat.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so as you all sit down, you watch as the crystal in the center of the table noticeably begins to start growing. And the man kind of sits there and he says, Anlef says, "Right, I assume you're all a part of Lady Daenerys' entourage. I'm here to settle out some formalities. First, we will be starting with your announcements, your names, and your titles."
Oh.
Well, I, of course, am Princess Daenerys of House Baratheon, second of her name,
Oh,
scholar
hold
of
on,
the
hold
Floating
on, hold
Isle.
on, hold on. And he like scrambles and pulls out like a piece of paper and like takes a piece of charcoal out and begins scribbling. Sorry, continue.
Princess Daenerys of House Baratheon, second of her name, Scholar of the Floating Isles, and Lady of the Elements.
Of course.
Respectfully.
Thank you, my lady. And he kind of like gives a curt nod and bow. And then he looks at let's see, so it'd be Terrace. And he'd probably look at Rue next. Name, title, occupation.
Al Heart Ruesh
All right.
of the Shadevale Valley.
And he kind of like stops writing. Kind of like cocks an eyebrow at you. The Shadevale Valley.
Yeah, yes. I don't have any official title. I apologize.
Kind of looks at Daenerys.
Well, these are my friends, you see.
Right. Okay. The heart wish of the Shadevale Valley. He kind of like gives a nod, and then he'll look at probably Lothric next. Name, occupation, and title.
Lothric Wilhelm, of the 115th Heavy Infantry Regiment out of Kate, capital of Johann.
Okay, Lothric Wilhelm of Kate, of what are you of higher regard, Captain?
I was a captain.
Okay, Captain of the 105th, you said.
Correct.
All right, Captain of the 105th. Okay. Well, I thank you for your service. And he kind of gives you a curt bow. And then he'll look
Thank
at
you.
Bo.
I apologize, friend. My name is just Bo. I don't have any titles.
You have no surname.
No.
All right.
I'm from
And-
Solili, if that does anything for you. Yawthorn.
And he kind of like looks at Daenerys.
You can call this one Defender of Lady Baratheon.
Of course. Bo, Defender of Lady Baratheon.
Ooh, such a fancy
And,
title.
Let's see, that's... Yep. And then he'll finally rest eyes on Magnus, and he says, "You may go in costume if you wish. However, I do expect that the magic field around the palace will dissuade any and all attempts. Name, title, and occupation."
Magnus is just gonna curse under his breath and just dispel the guy's self. Magnus Centauri of Ashmore. What did I call it? Shit. Bard of the Legend Craft.
Of course. All right. So, now that we have your announcements ready, we need to go over manners and, of course, how to act when you are in the presence of the king. The Lord is rather affluent when it comes to his procedures and duties. However, I must make sure that all parties involved are, in fact, respectful. So, and he kind of like looked at Daenerys, is there anything that you may find disrespectful or of any accord?
To my knowledge,
Of course. And I will have you know that we will address some concerns about Liveleqoir. And he starts going off on a list, but he starts speaking so fast that you catch like one or two things. Like one of them is like, don't bring up the War of Revenge. Another is never talk about the slave trade. And like just he just keeps, it's like the end of a commercial on the radio. And it's super fast, and he finally finishes and he says, I hope you got all that. I will not be repeating myself. Now then,
can we get that in written form, please?
Uh, um, I'm sorry, my lady. I'm afraid I do not have the means to write out such a large list here.
No worries.
My apologies. Um, and now we have to talk about how you present yourself. I don't mean any offense by this, but, well, only two of you are really dressed for nobility.
I don't really have any other clothes, friend.
Well, that will be suited and tailored to you. And he kind of like gets up, and then he pulls out like a slip of paper, and he hands it to Lothric, Rue, and Bo. And he sits down again, and he says, "Here you will find the closest tailor. They will take your measurements and produce a suit for you by the morrow. Early in the morning, you'll have to go pick it up, and by then I will be back to receive you and bring you to meet his lordship."
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. Are there any concerns or things that we want to address before we continue?
Can my hat stay?
Can your... I suppose so.
Thank you.
I will have to ask that you doff it when you enter, however.
Oh, take it off.
That is what that means, yes.
Bo's gonna huff a little bit and just stay quiet.
Anything else?
I don't believe so, no.
Alright, and because you are... looks to be a sister of Rona, I may say that you may be able to keep your weapons, however, taking them out in the presence of his lordship will not end well.
Of course, I understand.
And he kind of like, alright, let's see, am I forgetting anything? Not to my knowledge. And he stands up and he says, "I bid you adieu. I will be back on the morrow. Please be ready. Have your best clothes and best attire on, and do try to reduce the smell."
Oh,
Thank you. Kindly, sir.
And he gives a deep, gracious bow, and he says, "It is all for you, my lady." And he stands back up and starts walking out.
smell. Tanaris, do we have a smell?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys kind of reek.
I just washed myself, though.
Not all of us have.
Oh. I figured that's what we were all doing. Okay.
Well,
And so, as he exits, you watch as the crystal has now grown. It's huge. It's like the size of two fists put together. And you watch as 6 pieces immediately toom, 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 and then hit the table. And each of them magically roll to one of the seats that are around the table.
oh, what? What is this? Rue's gonna like pick one up.
Is the
Um,
amethyst around?
Amethyst has been standing behind a pillar this entire time watching.
I just look back at her and look at the crystals and like give a look.
Yeah, those are like keepsakes. We give them out. Well, I grow them magically, and they're like keepsakes to remind people to come back.
Hmm.
They're beautiful. Thank you.
Of course, it's really no trouble. Honestly, it's just a little bit of enchantment here and there.
I like that.
I do
Beautiful.
too. Rue's gonna put it in her bag.
I think I know what Taylor he's talking about. It's let me pull it up. So while we're doing this, talk amongst yourselves because it's gonna take me a second.
Okay. I'm gonna add this item to my inventory. What should I call it?
Tiny crystal.
Earth and wind crystal.
Tiny
Earth and wind crystal.
Earth and wind crystal. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Daenerys is going to turn to Magnus I need
Magnus
to
is
talk to
chewing
you.
his nail. He's been chewing
And-
this. He's been chewing his nail this entire since he dropped his disguise self.
Okay.
Yes, Tan.
I need to talk to you in private.
Ooh, spooky.
Ooh.
Yeah, the music change.
The Lady
Holy
Dorothea says I need to
fuck.
talk to you in private.
So she says, yeah, it's called the Miniature Tailor. I think it's quite a funny name. It's run by a gnome, so
Oh. Well, I
Alright,
suppose
cool.
us three should run there before we do anything else.
of course. Yeah, I think food will be ready by the time you get back, and then, well, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're just gonna look at the guys and be like, should we go?
Sure.
Yeah, is this a... Sorry, Tanaris. Is this a now thing or is this a later thing?
It's a now thing.
Alright.
Well, only Lothric, Bo, and Rue have to go to the tailor.
I don't trust their sense of style, but okay. I'll trust the tailor's sense of style.
Rue has a perfectly fine sense of style, excuse you.
Magnus is gonna
Yeah.
look her down,
It's
up,
it's a
down,
100-year-old rags.
All right.
That's
I'm gonna
perfect
get up.
back in her time.
some odd 100 years ago.
It's vintage. I like it. It's vintage.
Thank you. Remember,
Yeah,
it's
Rue's the embodiment of a hipster.
that's
Medieval
I love
hipster.
that.
Wearing it
Hipster.
before it
I
was
love
cool.
that so much.
Oh man.
so fucked up. It's the only clothes she has. The rest of her is like taken or rotted away.
Oh no.
All right. So, what are you guys doing?
I'm
Yes,
gonna
that's
go to the tailor.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Us three are gonna go to the tailor.
Okay.
And we're
so-
going back to our room.
Okay. So we'll start with Bo, Lothric, and Rue. You all begin making your way to the general directions that Amethyst gave you. And while you're doing that, Tanaris and Magnus, you may have your chat.
Oh dear God.
So I assume that we're in the room by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you two are alone in your room.
Um,
And I would
Tanaris
like
just-
to preface this. Bo, Lothric, and Rue, you do not know about this in character.
No metagaming.
I just want to make sure.
Okie dokie.
Daenerys puts her hand Magnus's shoulder. What is this disguise for, Magnus?
Well, I mean, Bo kind of knows. I myself am not from a particularly past that I care about. I have people that I care about, but the past, and I personally would rather try to keep you guys from it or somehow protect you from it. And the more that I use disguise self, or the spell that's called, and I don't look like me, the less often that people run into my father, which the rest of our troop had a lovely experience of meeting, and I may or may not have met this king before, and I may or may not be wondering if he's going to out me, but I forgot about the fucking enchantments around the castle that doesn't allow most magics unless you're like really renowned and powerful. But you know, it's just, at this point Magnus is just like kind of anxietily rambling.
Agnes, House Dorathian can't have this kind of stuff on their name.
No, I understand
I
that. I get that.
Can't
I
allow
just-
you to use a disguise self in the presence of royalty. I'm sorry.
Well, that's
If there's a mix of royal houses, if you're from a royal house that doesn't get along with this one, then please do not come
Honestly, that might actually be for the best.
Daenerys starts
I'm
pacing the room.
not exactly sure. I don't remember because it's been for fucking ever.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your father's name?
Magnus is gonna take a really, really deep breath. And he's just like, whatever comes, or whatever is said in this room has to stay here.
Of course, Magnus. You can trust me.
My father's name.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in our adventures in Dungeons & Dragons. We normally stream on Twitch, but like to post on YouTube just so everybody can have a chance to share in our story. If you've made it this far in the video and you like what you see, please feel free to drop a like, a comment, and maybe even subscribe. And now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and get back to the video.
So, we return. Bo, Rue, and Lothric are making their way to the miniature tailor through the city of Alathor, while Daenerys and Magnus are discussing Magnus's history in the Earth and Wind Inn. And that is where we're going to pick up.
My father's name is Igneous Odomadius, the Scorching Lord and Magistrate of the Emberheart of Ashmore.
Daenerys kind of steps back. You're serious?
Deadly. Hello, I am Magnus, third-born son. Third-born Lord Magnus and Lord Igneous and Lady Tactori, Golden Ember to the Twin Flame.
Daenerys immediately bows.
Please don't.
It's only natural. I'm
That's-
sorry.
I know, I just... That's just not who I am. I just... There's more to explain than that, but, you know, I just...
Seems you've removed yourself from your house.
That's one way of putting it. But last week, I had a bit of a run-in with my father, who had found me because I was careless and I slipped up, and I'm afraid the rest of our party might be in danger. So,
Danger?
Well, I don't know if you know much about the head of the Odomadius family, but...
How much does she know, DM?
You know, what Daenerys knows is that the same thing that most people know is that the Odomadius family is the family in Lenarol that has complete and utter control of the magical item market. And Daenerys would know, based on their history, that they got to where they are through close relations working with the Empire as it started, and it was sort of cutthroat at the beginning.
Does she know the relation between that house and the Floating Isles?
As far as she knows, there's no real relation.
Okay.
What she would know is that the Odomadius family, apart from the Emperor, is the second most powerful family in all of Lenarol.
Your family is far more prestigious than my own, even. If we show up at the castle, they will probably know who you are.
Hence the disguise self.
Which Cole, would I know? Because you told me no before, but would I know if like the castle itself has like anti-magics or whatever? Like,
Arnulf told you so.
yeah, fuck, that's right.
Castle Basilius is no joke. We need to take this seriously.
Deadly. Considering what is at stake, could be at stake, and what we're needing to get. I don't know all of the exact details of why you are needed here. All I know is the invitation. I just need passage to Spectre Island. That's one of the few reasons I'm here, and whether I like it or not, I've rather gotten attached to our small band of curiosities, but
So have I, of course. Otherwise, this group kind of puts a hinder on my name.
well,
Oh?
small. But
I mean, my brother told me so.
I'm glad you're still close with your family after you've left and everything. I wish I
Course.
could say the same. I don't call as much as I should. I'm gonna hold out the sending stone and just kind of like flip it in my hand and look at it.
Nurse scrambles through her bag and holds out hers as well.
Hey!
I have one as well. I try to keep in contact, but it can be hard when we're so busy.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my brothers and siblings, but I technically did run away from home, so
Yes, of course. And you're not obligated to tell me why.
no.
Just know if you ever need to. I'm here to listen.
I appreciate that. I just needed someone to know, and with the current circumstances, I'm glad you're the one who asked, because, well, you're the closest one to that situation, strangely, but
Very strange. Considering I've never met anyone from your family besides you.
well, with luck you won't have to, but if you have the unfortune, I think my sisters would love you.
I'd like to meet them someday.
Perhaps.
So, with that, we're going to go over to Bo, Rue, and Lothar. I have to think so hard. I'm sorry. As you guys are walking, the sun begins to dim a bit more over the horizon. It's been a pretty all right day. You guys eventually come to the miniature tailor, and it is a small squat stone house at a 10-degree angle, kind of turned on its side, and there is a door with a window, and on the window there is like a sign that like in crooked common reads open. There are curtains closed over the adjoining windows, however.
Okay. Rue's gonna walk in.
Okay. So as you walk in, there's a faint tingling. And it's kind of dark and musty. It's candlelit. And there is a gnome sitting in a chair across from you. It's a small room, and there is like a single pedestal in the front and a mirror set in front of that. And then all around you, there's different like items and garb of clothing, and it's all incredibly fine. Like this is like silks, linens, things that royalty dream of.
Oh, gosh. Rue's just kind of gonna admire all of these garments, never like having seen such like fancy clothing really before.
Okay. What are Lothric and Bo doing?
Lothric's just standing at one of the cases, just like eyes open wide, looking at all these immaculate like suit sets that have already been pre-made.
Bo feels kind of uncomfortable on this, and it's not really that hard to see.
Okay. So it doesn't take you three to learn that the gnome is asleep in the chair.
Howdy, friend.
Go,
Sorry, it's okay. It's okay. Sorry.
oh,
Sorry.
oh. Yes, how may I help you?
We were sent here to get some suits.
Oh, by who? And he kind of like gets up. He's pretty old, and he's got like very wrinkly skin. And he like kind of squints at all of you, and he says, "Come closer. Come into the light, please."
We're with Onaloth. Is that how you say his name? Onaloth, like,
What?
the guy who was
Arnulf?
Arnulf? Oh, sorry, Arnulf. I wrote that down weird. We were sent here by Arnulf, and we're with Lady Tenaris Dorathian.
Oh yes, you're to get suits. I see. And he kind of like rubs his eyes and face, and then he's okay. The tallest one, step up first.
Ah, shit. And Bo steps up then.
Okay, and he kind of hobbles up to you, and you see him as he grabs like a little footstool and he puts it down. He gets on top of it, and like in practiced perfect fluid fashion, he takes like a measurement string, whips it around you, measures your waist, your chest, like he has to like reach up to your chest, and then the stool begins like rising under him as it starts magically growing, and he like in one fluid moment goes all the way around your head and then all the way around. I'm assuming you took off the hat.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, he goes around your shoulders, measures your bicep and your stomach, and he says, "Yes, of course." And the stool begins shrinking again. He says, "Okay, this one will take about 2 hours. Well, are you looking for a particular style?"
I'm gonna be honest, friend. I've never worn a suit.
Bye, that's troubling. Well, I think that it's a pale green with some inflection of blue should go well with your complexion. Oh, and he looks you up and down a couple times when he says, 139C will do, I think. And he turns around and then writes something down and puts it on the table. He says, "Next tallest one, please."
Lothric steps forward.
Okay, and in the same fucking like super fast fluid motion, he measures you all the way around. He says, "Oh, all right. Any preference on style?"
Honestly, I've worn quite a few suits in my lifetime. Do you have anything that's military in nature?
Other than your own militaristic usage, we have things that could go well with that, I suppose. That might take a bit more time, however.
Okay. I think that's all I needed to know. Maybe a preference for the color, maybe blue, by chance?
Of course, yes. And he kind of like, the stool shrinks down, he writes something down, he says, "Next, please."
Rue kind of shyly steps forward.
Okay. He says, "Oh, my, I'm going to have to ask the two of you to turn around." Gesturing to Bo and Lothric.
Okay.
Lothric turns around.
"Sorry, my dear lady, it's, I understand," and he immediately, like, woof, 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 measures you. He says, "Any preference in style?"
No, anything is fine.
"Oh, and, would you like anything written in on the words of your god?"
Oh, no, I believe that's okay.
Of course. And the stool lowers and he writes something down again. And he says, come back in the morning. I'll be working all night. It'll be fine. Oh, and one more thing. If you see Arnulf again before you come and pick them up, tell him that payment is still waiting for the man from Cobalt, that one. His name should be Dolor or something, I believe. Tell him about him, and he'll know who I'm talking about.
Oh, son.
All right. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess they're gonna leave the tailor.
Okay. So what I want you guys to do is send me just like a brief description of what you want, and then if you want your own spin on it, that's fine. If you want me to put a spin on it, that's okay.
Okay.
Cole, I also need these for reasons.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah,
don't,
do some
if you don't give
research. Hang on.
details, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want with the art. I hope you
That's
understand. No distraction. No discretion.
Okay.
Let me do some research.
So
I'm
do you
just
all
gonna
three leave the tailor?
I'm gonna actually sit down and talk with the tailor if that's okay.
Okay.
Look, friend, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think green looks good on me. Can we do like a black
It'll
and red
be
thing?
perfect for your olive complexion.
Are you sure about this?
Well, if you insist, I can change it.
If you're okay with that, I would greatly appreciate it. I don't want to be a hindrance on you, but I'd rather tell you this before you either start making the suit or start prepping the suit.
Oh, yes, of course. I can still do a bit less of a green and make a red over, and maybe some inner stitching. Ooh, that might look good, actually.
Thank you. I do genuinely apologize.
No, it's okay. That I live to work.
Either way, your work is greatly appreciated. I'm just gonna like hold out my hand to like shake his.
He takes it with a very small hand. He says, "You
Uh.
know, there aren't very many gentlemen like you around anymore." And he kind of like, I'm assuming Lothric and Rue have already left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He kind of like looks around and he says, I'll let you in on a little something. And he lets go of your hand and he goes behind his small bar and he pulls out a box and he sets it down. And he says, this is a special item that I get imported directly from Yarkish. It is incredibly expensive, but... And he opens it. And you see that it is this red cloth. But as he like pushes it towards you, the light makes it shimmer like it's liquid.
That's beautiful.
He says, if you want, I could use this instead. I might have to stress the color a bit, but that'll be fine. Just because it's rare to meet someone of, well, such kind stature anymore.
Oh, I can't possibly. That's. Are you sure? I'm not.
It'll
exactly...
be fine. It's all charged to the king.
Okay, if you're sure about this, I would love to have that incorporated.
He gives a nod. He says, you see like he starts smiling really brightly, and he has deep smile lines, and you can tell he's laughed a lot throughout his long gnome life. He says, I hope to see you again. Maybe as a friend instead of a patron.
I'll take you out for a drink. How about that?
That sounds like a good time. And he closes the box and he says, all right, I must get to work. Be back in tomorrow.
All right. He tips his hat as he walks out the door and just says, thank you kindly.
Of course, thank you.
Closes the
and
door.
the door tingling as it closes. So, with that, you all are going to be making your way back to the Earth and Wind Inn. And Magnus and Daenerys, it takes about an hour and a half for the rest of the party to come back. And by this time, the sun has gone down. And as you all three re-enter the inn, Ciro comes out to the hearth fire and she says, "Oh, this is my favorite part." And she pulls out like flint and steel, and she strikes it, and then it and lights. And she steps back and she like looks at all of you with a grin and puts a finger up to her lips. And as the fire begins to grow, the heat begins to rise, and you smell the aroma of burning wood. But it's like burning. It's a mixture of like pine and pine nuts and like not. It just smells natural. And as the heat rises, you begin to hear like a faint melody. You begin to hear different chimes going off, all in their own accordance, and it creates this very distinct, very lovely melody in the air.
Oh. Why, this is beautiful.
She kind of gives a nod and she says, Amethyst made it for me. And she like looks up to the rafters, and you can see that the boxes and barrels that are on the rafters are actually conductors for the heat, and as the heat rises, the cool air from the outside lowers, and they produce wind, and as the wind pushes through, it hits the chimes and is centered through these boxes to create different melodies.
Is it like a song at all, or is it literally just like different chimes?
It's like different. It's not a song exactly, but it's not just like the sound of wind chimes. It sounds like a melody being written as it's being played.
What a beautiful sign of love.
Yeah, when we moved in, she said that she wanted to really make and inspire people. And I, being the idiot I am, said, "You do that all on your own." But she said, "No, I really want to take something from the both of us, something that we have, and lend it to the others." So I came up with the crystal idea, and she came up with this.
What a beautiful collaboration. I love it. It's great.
Reminds me of someone.
Sorry, right. The food should be out in just a moment. Let me tell you, that Gerda, Gerda. I still have yet to learn her name.
Get
Gerda. Yes, that's right. I don't know where you found her, but she's just the most charming. She makes wonderful food. I think you'll really enjoy it.
We knew she'd fit in.
She makes a mean coffee.
Yes, she does. And she steps back from the hearth as the flames begin to grow again, and the melody begins to shift into something softer. And she goes into the back, and it's not long before she pulls and brings out several different trays of different kinds of food. Like, some of them are meats, others are just like salads. It's like a couple of different dishes as she lays them on the table and pushes two of the tables together.
Thank you.
Here, let me help you. I'm gonna help her push the tables together and like help her move
Okay.
the chairs and everything.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
So as you get a closer look at her, all of you, Daenerys, you recognize her as an Air Genasi.
Wait. You're an Air Genasi, aren't you?
Yes, it's really something, isn't it?
Your people have quite a beautiful culture.
Thank you. I assume you're from the Floating Isles.
Yes.
Yes, those monks. uh,
They're quite a personality, aren't they?
yes, indeed. I'm afraid I don't come from there, however. They're attractive and I'd love to see them, but, well, it doesn't matter.
They're colonies of Ergenasi on the mainland.
No, I come from, it's a very long story. Uh, let's just say I don't really come from anywhere you would know of.
I'd like to hear your story someday.
I'd love to tell it. And she steps back and she says, "Do you need anything else?"
I think we're all okay. Thank you kindly.
Of course. And she starts going back into the back, and you start to hear her and Amethyst begin talking.
We're just gonna sit down at the table and kind of like excitedly look over like all the food that's been brought out.
Lothric, what are you doing? Go! Wow.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't like getting put on the spot like that.
Bad.
I guess he's just kind of staring off into space up at the crystals in the ceiling.
Okay.
What? He's never seen something like this. It's...
No, I get it. I get it. All right. So, do you all want to talk about anything, or just eat and then spend the night?
So how's the Taylors?
Successful, I think so.
Hope you all got something to match your individual flair.
Yeah, I hope
think
so.
They treat you with respect over there.
Oh yes, there's beautiful garments that were there in the tailor shop.
Oh, that's quite wonderful to hear.
It feels a little silly that we're getting suited for something so fancy.
Well, you are meeting one of the kings of Linerol, so might as well dress for the part.
I guess so, yeah.
Exactly.
Daenerys, I
Yes,
do
Bo?
want to say something.
What is it?
I promise you not to, or I promise I won't say anything in there.
Yes. As long as we treat him with respect, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Well, of
But-
course, but it's more of that I didn't know what that guy was talking about with the hat. I don't know. I just don't really feel like I'd be that good of company if I spoke. So, you want me to just play the role of silent guard?
I mean, I named you my guard. It would be fitting.
Sounds good.
What did the king want to talk to you about, Daenerys?
The letter even say anything?
Yeah. It's basically just said like, hey, I know you're not from around here, but typically when a noble shows up in this state, they come and visit the king just to kind of like get to know each other. There's really no harm, no foul here. Just letting you know you can come by anytime.
It's just customary, Rue.
Oh,
So, the Floating Isles and the House Basilius have had some mixed relations, but I'm hoping we can kind of smooth those out.
so it's diplomatic in nature?
Mostly.
We are
Oh.
going to use this chance, though, to gain passage to Spectre Isle, though, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yes. I hope
yes,
so.
of course.
Magnus, did you need to go to Spectre Isle too?
Yeah, I got a few questions myself that I need answered, and I heard of it from Hadley. Bo and I's
A friend of ours.
ex, boss, friend, acquaintance, acquaintance.
He was more of an acquaintance to me. Sounds like he was a boss to you. Weren't you like a part of the Arid Riders?
A month or two. It's just. It might have been
more
a little longer than a month, but who's counting?
Not me.
Yeah.
I mean, these are important things to take note of.
Daenerys, I'm not a criminal.
I mean, besides you, obviously, and I believe Rue, I think all of us are going over to the Spectra Isles. Actually, that's why we all decided to stick together. Got something in common, so why not travel in a group?
What's in the Spectre Isles for you, Lothric?
I think that would be something that I would need to explain where we actually have time.
Makes sense.
So I do apologize for that. I would love to get into it, but I don't think we have the time at the moment.
No worries.
Are we like also the only ones in the inn at the moment?
What?
Are we also like the only ones in the inn at the moment, or are there also like other patrons?
No, so yeah, you guys are the only ones. You can kind of gather it's because there are like 30 inns in the city itself. So.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious.
Gotcha. Well, I guess we're just gonna finish up her food and look at everyone. I suppose we should get a good night's rest. So we look less travel tired for the king.
Yes, of course.
And baths. All of you, baths. I'm looking at you, Lothric and Bo. I know you bathe, but Lothric, I know you don't bathe regularly.
But it's hard to find a good soap that I can use.
Are you allergic to it? Like, does it give you hives?
No, I'm not allergic to anything. It's just...
It's okay. I could probably find you a nice like dwarven soap.
Something to cut through the grease.
Yeah, something to cut through all that
Gotta
grease.
oil
like,
up that armor.
Exfoliating.
Okay,
it's called Dr. Bone Man.
Nice.
So with that, you all go to your respective rooms. You may all take a long rest. Oh, go ahead.
I want Daenerys to walk up to Amethyst and her girlfriend.
Oh my
Wife?
god.
Fiance? Yeah.
Wife. Fiance? Sorry.
Fiancé.
My bad.
Okay.
And she's
so
gonna
as you walk up, Amethyst and Zero are kind of both like, yeah, I know. I can't believe we got to meet them. And Zero was like, I just, I thought that, when a noble comes, they act a little bit more noble. I'm relieved to see that they're really hospitable.
Excuse me.
Oh, hey.
I've noticed that you both have an affinity for beauty.
They both kind of like look at each other and like, what do you mean?
Like this place, it's gorgeous. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Oh, well, thank you.
And Daenerys spreads her wings and does a little curtsy. And while she's doing the curtsy, the cloak on her back covers her wings, and the element of air kind of flows out of her wings.
Okay, so as you turn the cloak and as you begin to feel the air, it's strange. The magic in the cloak feels a bit stronger than the last time you remembered it. And you can't really place your talon on why.
Oh. She looks a little shocked, but quickly composes herself. I hope you know that this will be a place of uh, great visitation by the people of the Floating Isles, if they choose to come.
They both kind of like gasp at like the cloak. They're like, Ciro kind of like steps forward and she says, I, uh, and she just gives you a hug.
Near
Oh,
such back.
I love them. They're my favorite NPCs now. Fuck Spencer.
Is that all you were gonna do?
That's all.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to do before we continue to the next day?
Take a bath. Take a bath.
I mean, other than bathing and taking a long rest.
Yes, and while, like, after everybody goes to bed and everything, can I, like, after Rue goes to sleep and everything, I'm gonna just, like, throw, I don't have anything to throw, god damn it, and be like, psst, psst, Daenerys, Daenerys.
Daenerys is still awake,
okay.
so she just kind of hops down.
Daenerys. Oh, shit. Wait, sorry.
You're okay.
So, did we decide whether if I'm going tomorrow or...
Well,
are
what do you
we-
think is the best decision?
I don't know. I'm not good at making decisions. I was hoping you would be.
Well, you're the one that's left your royal house. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I just work here. Sorry. Do we, like, should I flip a coin for it? Or... I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
We have any of our things left here while we're going to the castle.
I mean, I was planning on taking most of my stuff. I don't really like leaving my stuff in inns, but I'm sure that Amethyst and... What was her fiance's name?
Amethyst and Cyril.
And Cyril would, like... I love them. They're my favorites. This is the best inn that I've been in for a while. What?
No, then don't worry about it. Just continue.
I don't want to, like, piss off the king or expose something or, like, cause us trouble, but I want to be there if something goes down and I'd be like, I am bleh, and help get us out of some shit.
Suddenly, Daenerys gets kind of serious. I need you to be honest with me, Magnus. What is the relation between your house and King Basilius?
Well, so technically my father is the right hand to the emperor, so he kind of has a lot of trade between the kingdoms, the states, the kings, the same difference. Right? Am I saying this correct, Cole?
Yeah.
They have a lot of trade. They deal in, like, magic items and everything because, you know, Odomere's family, that's the whole thing.
What's that family?
Quick, I'm going to ask this question. Rue, do you make it known that you're awake?
No, she's gonna lay there.
Fuck you! I forgot she was an elf!
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
I hate it here.
This is just like pacing the room.
Magnus is just sitting crisscross applesauce in his bedroll, just like, I don't know what to do.
You think I know what to do?
I just say, let's say fuck it and just flip a coin and then just go with whatever. That's how I normally handle my shit because I'm too fucking indecisive for anything.
If you decide to out your identity, I hope you know I'll have to tell you've kept it a secret.
Like, elaborate.
So if the king, it's known to him that you are of noble blood and
Mm-hmm. that I kept it a secret from you for
And-
the rest of the party because I really like. Don't get me wrong, I trust them with my life. I just don't want anything bad to happen to any of you because I'm too attached now, and I feel like with the rest of you knowing something might go wrong, so I'm gonna try really, really hard not to get outed, but if it happens, I'm afraid all of them will be mad at me because I know that Bo and Lothric both have bleh shit with noble whatevers, and I just, like...
So I'm gonna have to ask you guys to kind of pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'm gonna pull out a gold piece and flip it. Heads I stay, tails I go. What would that be? I don't have a coin. Fucking damn it.
I'll do it.
Here, you flip
You
it.
can just. No, I was gonna say you can ask your phone to do that, but that works too.
What was it? Heads you stay. What?
Heads I stay, tail I go?
Okay, it ended up tails.
Okay.
I can. Here, I'll even take a screenshot.
No, you're good. I believe you. Okay, well, the fates have fucking spoken. Fucking platinum dragon my fucking ass. But I will go. I will behave. If anything happens... I hope nothing happens, but... Finger guns. Lays down. Puts his blanket over him. And tries to go to sleep.
Okay. So it doesn't take long for you guys to drift off into unconsciousness. Rue, after hearing about half of that, you slip back into your meditative state.
Woohoo.
With that, Bo,
Oh god.
for the first time in a while, you have a dream. And the dream, from what you remember, whenever you wake up, is always the same. It starts off with you standing outside your town home in Yawthorn. You're gripping the blade that was given to you by the guard regiment as you enlisted. You're surrounded by 8 bandits, and one of them a balding face with a crooked grin and a massive sword. At your back, you hear the noise of someone pounding and screaming on a window, and as you turn to look, you see Darcy's face, pleading, begging you to be careful. And then you hit the ground. The face of the man who killed you looming over you, grinning. You are watching as the sobbing Darcy cries and begs as she watches her husband die. Flames beginning to lick the room behind her. You know that you have to save her. You have to try. The last thing you see is her face begging you not to leave. And then you dream of yourself digging through the ashes of the house. Your blood and some other caked over your hands as you sift through the burned and scorched stone. And you dig. You find no body, but you find a small brass ring. Your ring. It always ends this way. But where you would normally wake up, it continues. It shifts and changes, and now you stand on the wall dividing Goldtest from the rest of the inner city of Yawthorn. The 100-foot-high wall overlooks the arid land of Solili, from the high dunes that cut off the horizon to the east, to the huge mountains that seem to divide the very sky itself to the west. Around you, a buzz of people seem to move like shadows, their forms distant and their features faded. They swarm, excited to ride the gold and silver gondolas on their pathway down into Midring, away from the slums of Goldtest. And in front of you, in the clearing, stands Darcy. In that same floral sundress that always matched her blue eyes, her rich brown hair flowing over her shoulders like sweet tea. As you look at her and everything seems to fall away, leaving only you and her atop the world. You feel weightless, like you could fly without trying. And she says with that same loving grin as she cups your face with her hand, "My Bo, what do you have to live for?" And you begin to tell her you're sorry, how much you miss her, how much you have to say, but as you try, the words, your voice catches in your throat, and you squirm and thrash to let her know, but all that comes out are tears. And then you wake up.
Lothar. Fuck. I almost said my own name. Fuck. Sorry. Bo, are you okay? You were tossing and turning all night.
At this point, you're gonna see a couple of tears rolling down his cheek.
Listen. You don't have to tell me now. But I understand what you're going through. I can feel it. I had the exact same thing. Like the exact same feelings that you're feeling. So you don't have to tell me right now.
As you say that, he gets out of the bedroll that he was laying in, walks over to your bed, just says, "Stand up, please."
Okay. Lothric stands up.
And he hugs him.
I'm gonna cry. Fuck.
Oh.
Just casually hugging in their underwear.
Yeah, Lothric's in his tidy whities.
Yep.
I had to put that on there.
Don't
I'm so sorry.
Monster versions either.
We're not talking about that. Shut up.
Morning wood and all.
God.
No. Bo is not horny right now, fucker.
He's got a sad beanie.
Alright, you all shut up.
Into the dice tray.
Mother, I can't stop thinking of her.
I take it it's your wife again.
My wife, my mom, my dad, my brother. At this point, you feel like his hand shaking on your back, like violently trembling. And he just takes a deep breath, lets you go, and just says, "I'm really sorry you had to see that."
It's fine, but I'll tell you this. All the pain and suffering, it truly never gets easier.
I know.
You just gotta learn to adapt. But whatever comes and whatever hardships you and I go through, I'll always have your back. You can count on that.
And you the same. Always.
Okay, so with that, you both hear a sharp rapping on your door, and you hear the voice of Arnulf. "Oh, it's time to go. I believe that the tailor's is still open if you need to get your things."
Oh, shit. And he just, like, throws everything on as fast as he fucking can, and hopes Lothric does the same as he bursts the door open and just says, "Sorry, yeah."
"I expect
Bro, I
you
was
here
right on your
within the
heels.
next 30 minutes. And he then strides over to the other door where the other three are sleeping and does the same.
At this point, Bo, like, Bo, like, bursts out of the room, cowboy boots and all, sprints over to the door before Ornolf can get there, and just says, and starts, like, bashing on the door and just says, "Rue, we need to get up! Come on!" And he just runs out of the building towards the tailors.
Okay,
Oh my god.
Lothric, as you watch this happen, you see Arnulf kind of, like, consider Bo for a second, and he's like, "He's got a good hustle."
Wait, was he looking at my cowboy ass? Please tell me he was looking.
Everyone is looking at your cowboy ass.
Jesus.
He gets like that sometimes. I wouldn't blame him.
Rue's gonna just kind of like stumble out the door as she like follows Bo. Not like quite in as much as a hurry, but like hastily.
Okay. So it doesn't take much time for you guys to get your things, and you all reconvene in the Earth and Wind. Daenerys and Magnus, you are both wearing your most resplendent attire, and I would like both of you to describe that for me.
Ladies first.
Oh goodness. Magnus, go first. I don't have anything ready.
Fuck. Okay. Magnus is wearing his normal boots. They're slight heeled, maybe like 3-4 inches. They come up to his knee, and they have this really pretty gold embroidery on the tops of them, and they button down the inner side. And he is wearing his black trousers that are skin tight but still like comfortable, and he's wearing a dark blue shirt, almost black, and it has the same, almost the same collar as you're used to normally seeing him in. It has almost the same gold accents and everything, and he still has on his skeleton armor, but he also has gold, what are they called, lapels, shoulder lapels. He has gold shoulder lapels on this shirt, as well as a cape that flows over his left shoulder with a clip on it that's a small golden flame, and the shoulder cape itself is a very rich navy blue with more gold trimmings and details and embellishments on it that slowly fades out as he gets closer to the shoulder. Almost flame-like, but not from a passing glance.
Okay. Daenerys.
So, usually, Daenerys is wearing, like, very simple linens, just wrapping her legs and her chest and her stomach. Like, she looks kind of like a monk, typically.
Mm-hmm.
But today, she's wearing these linens aren't just regular linens. They're black, and they are lined with golden flakes that in like alchemic symbols across the
Cool.
lining of the linen. And over these linens, she wears a robe. But her robe doesn't look like it normally does. It looks glistening, like almost sparkling in any kind of light.
Okay.
And
So as oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, you're fine. You're totally fine. I lost my train of thought. Move on.
Okay. So as the other three walk in, you all see that Rue is wearing a very long, very well-made dress made of many different sheets of very thin silk. These sheets all blend together whenever she moves. As the light hits it, it looks as though a fog or a smoke is rising off of her body. And as it goes up from the ground to the chest, it goes from a white to a dark black. But as it rises around the chest and the stomach itself are twinklings of different stones. And as they catch the light, it looks like stars bouncing off of her. She wears a small corset underneath that, and over her shoulders is a small flowing cape that covers one of her arms. Her head is adorned in a lightly feathered, kind of half moon-ish looking hat. Very small, but enticing to the eye. Bo walks in, and he is the cleanest you've ever seen him. He is a bit fresh shaven, only a little bit. still needs to keep the stubble as he walks in a full black dark suit. The light itself seems to get absorbed into the suit. No reflection whatsoever, but underneath it all there's a stark pale green that contrasts his skin perfectly. And through that you can see there are woven patches of things, and as you look closer you see that it is this red fabric that is almost like ordaining his physical features, the slimness of his body, the broadness of his chest, and as he moves, it looks like, as the light shines, it looks like a pool of blood red as it moves and shifts, almost like a liquid. Lothric walks in with a very stark blue and yellow running down his pants, but for his shirt itself, it's one of those like really weird frilled collars from like the 1600s. And it's bright blue, but as he kind of turns and like readjusts his shoulders, you watch as it flares out a little bit and then retracts, almost like it's moving with the rest of his body in synchronous movement. And the rest of him seems to give off as this blue is bright white and looks like lightning as it rages across his large body. And you all stand in front of Alnarf, who says, "Oh my, you all clean up very nicely." And he kind of like pulls a pocket watch out of his suit. You can see he's wearing like a very early 1800s like 9-piece suit. Got the tail petticoat. He's got like a fucking top hat. He's got a monocle. And he's like, "We should get going right about now."
I'm gonna offer my arm to Daenerys, my lady.
And at that, Daenerys leads the way.
Okay.
As we pass by
So does-
Bo, I'm gonna fix his pocket square and pat it.
Okay.
You guys clean up handsome.
Sorry, I've literally never worn one of these.
You're fine. You look great. Also, side
Yes,
note, 2019 217s.
Who got the 20? Who got the 20?
You did.
Yeah!
Rue got the 19, and Daenerys and Lothric
yeah,
got
we did.
17s.
Awesome.
Oh,
I don't know how I'm the most attractive member in this party to you, but okay.
It's the dice, home slice.
Your dice
So-
like me, apparently.
So, as you guys start walking into the streets, many people start giving you a wide berth, sensing an air of nobility around you. It doesn't take long to get to the long, huge stone walls of Basilius Castle. Let me pull up what that looks like. Give me a second. So, Basilius Castle is a massive work of stone. As one follows the walls with their eyes, they seem to split apart like a hydra's head into more and more differently shaped and odd careened walls, creating a disorienting effect from the outside. The walls themselves are green-hued, much like the rest of the stone, but these have vines and moss overtaking them. And as you approach the front gates, 20 guards adorn the front, each of them in very resplendent armor, very clearly expecting to receive someone. And the two doors as they swing open. These doors are about 15 feet tall. They're huge, and they're not made of wood. They're made of stone. And you hear a faint as the chains to open them begin to wind up. And as the door opens, you see standing through a dirt pathway a massive, about 7-acre area of land. On either side are two gorgeous gardens adorned with, on one of them, many fruits and vegetables and spices, and in the other, very vibrant, sorry, give me just a second. Very vibrant, where is it? Where'd it go? Did I delete it? No, I didn't do that.
Oh.
Very vibrant yellows, blues, purples, and greens as the flowers twist and wind around themselves. In front of the pathway leading up to what looks to be another giant stone doorway, are three stone doorways rather, sort of in like a hexagonal shape, is a single man standing with what looks to be a little girl hiding behind him and a gorgeous woman next to him. And as you all begin to enter through the gates, you all hear. Now announcing, on behalf of his lordship, King Oslo Basilius, King Oslo Lionheart Basilius, Keeper of Peace, Iclia Victor, Ward of the East, and head of the Stakedom of Liveleqoir, and his beautiful wife, Lady Kelsey, Silken Voice Basilius, heir to the throne, Protectorate of the North Tower, and his daughter, that would be Lady Illustra, Fire-Eyed Basilius, third in line, Ward of the West Tower. And his missing 2 children, Lady Sylvia, Iron-Willed Basilius, second in line, Protectorate of the East Tower. Oh shit, I said Kelsey for the queen's name. Sorry, Kelsey's not the queen's name.
Oh, I just thought it was like a passing down the name thing.
And his beautiful wife, Queen Lilia, fair-minded Basilius, who is a shorter... I'm not supposed to say that. I'm a mess.
You're doing a great job.
Okay, cool. It's okay.
And then he says, now announcing, on behalf of her ladyship, Princess Daenerys Dorathian, of House Dorathian, second of her name, Scholar of the Floating Isles, Lady of the Elements, announcing... Alhart Ruesh of the Shadevale Valley, Lothric Wilhelm of Kate, Captain of the 105th Armored Infantry, Bo, Defender of Lady Dorathian, and Magnus Santori of Ashmore, Bard of the Legend Craft. And after that, there's a few more, like, some trumpet sound, like, and the doors begin to close behind you. And as Arnulf walks you a bit closer, he gives a very deep, illustrious bow.
Daenerys bows with him.
I bow with Daenerys.
Rue's gonna follow suit.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
Same for Lothric.
So the man in front of you gives another bow, and after a few seconds comes back up, and then Arnulf follows. Standing in front of you is a human man of average, about 5'9" height. He is in his 30s, and he has a large red beard that has flecks of gray and white. He has deep brown hair with hints of gray in his eyes and his hair, and has been pulled back into a ponytail, and his pale skin contrasts his piercing earth-brown eyes. In his ponytail, you see that there is a golden clip holding it aloft. Standing next to him is a very, very beautiful, although be it shorter woman with blonde red hair and deep blue eyes. She has tanner skin, but she is wearing a simple but gorgeously designed dress. Oslo himself, the king, now standing before you, is wearing a very long robe which is belted at the waist and a scabbard at his side with a blade. And as that happened, as you notice that, two servants come up holding blades out for Lothric, Bo, and Magnus. And these are your weapons.
Oh.
Arnulf bows to them and says, "You may bow and take your weapon. Keep it sheathed at all times."
Bo takes his claymore and bows.
I bow in return and equip my rapier.
Okay.
Wait, do I get my crossbow back too, or is it just my
No,
greatsword?
just the swords.
Shit.
What did you say, Lothric?
Oh, he does the same. He bows and retrieves his long sword and his great sword and equips them onto his back.
So at that, Arnulf says, "I believe that is all the formalities we will be needing, Your Highness." And he gives another bow, and you watch as Oslo, like, his stern face drops, and he's like, "Oh, thank Christ." Oh. And he, like, relaxes a bit, and you can see that he's, like, a smile creeps across his face, and he's like, "I've been waiting so long to meet ya!" And he rushes up to Daenerys.
It's a pleasure to meet you, my lord.
"Oh, drop that nonsense. You may call me Oslo."
Are you sure?
I'm very sure. Believe me, all the lord and the king, and I don't like it very much. Please come in, come in. I, how long will you be staying?
I'm not quite sure how we've come to be in your presence, and we're here for anything you need, my lord.
Right, of course. Well, if that's the case, let's have a spot of tea, shall we? And then tonight we'll have a feast in your honor, and then we can get things and move on. Um, yeah. Come in. And he turns around and starts walking, and you watch as he sweeps up the little girl into his arms and starts carrying her over his shoulder like a fireman. As she begins giggling as he like triumphantly walks back, and Arnold just goes, "Never been a stickler for tradition."
Quite the contrast from home.
Yes, I can only assume. He's always been like this, and no matter how many lessons I've tried to give him, he just... Well, that doesn't matter. Follow him. I will be at your behest if you need me.
Yeah.
Of course. So do you all follow him?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all follow.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So as you begin walking down the pathway towards the three large double doors kind of ordained in this manner, you see a huge fucking stone palace in front of you. It is massive. To the left side, where your view was originally cut off, is a massive palace. It is fucking huge. It has, all in all, 819 rooms, and it is ordained with glass and just, it's fucking gorgeous. But it's all overgrown, much like everything else here. And on the right side, as you look, you see another smaller, like, manor house. It has about 14 rooms, and you watch as two, like, girls are playing out front, in front of it. But Oslo marches in through the primary doors leading into the larger palace.
Rue's just kind of gonna like observe everything that they're like passing by, just kind of like in awe.
Magnus
Castles
is
are always awe-striking, aren't they?
It's beautiful here. Goodness, I don't have much to say. It's just, it's so breathtaking almost.
Certainly.
Magnus is kind of like very stiff, and he also has kind of a confused face.
Okay.
Bo's gonna lean over and just say, "Hey, it's okay."
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I know you're fine. That's what I was saying. And he pats him on the back and just gives him a light smile.
Okay. So as you guys continue following Oslo, you enter into the grand entranceway, and right away you see that this is like the throne room. There's a huge stained glass window highlighting the back of like a large stone throne. Different colors of like purples and greens kind of dance along the light, along the ground as the light strikes it. But Oslo doesn't walk towards that. Instead, he walks to a small side door and opens it, which is like a side entrance, and he walks through it. And as you follow him, this is the exit to an entrance to the smaller like manor on the other side. And he says, "Yeah, I don't really like the palace. It's a bit too much, too roomy. So we decided to trade with the servants' house." And he gestures to the small manor, and he says, "And every now and then, when I go out into the inner city, I pick and choose a couple people who are down on their luck a bit, and they get to stay in the palace. Of course, they have to work on the grounds, but I think it really helps keep morale up. And even that garden, we give all that to the city. It's pretty nice. My lovely wife thought of it," and he kind of like gives her a look, and she smiles.
Can I do an insight check? Like, not to see if he's lying, just to see if this is kind of a front at all.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Ooh, what is mine? I wish I had this memorized. Ooh, 22.
Okay.
So I'm stressed.
Don't worry about it.
You too, huh?
So as you all continue following him, he opens the door to the small manor and he says, Kelsey, Sylvia, come in. We're having a wee bit of tea with the lady House Tarathian, and they both kind of like look at him and shrug and follow in. And as you enter, he leads you into a small room on the side, and there's like a pretty good sized table. He sits at the head, and his wife and daughters sit closest to him, and the other seat is reserved for Tanaris, the other head of the table.
Nurse takes a seat.
And as you all kind of do the same, he leans over to his servant and says, yeah, could we have the I need to think of a tea name. Could we have the ginger? It's good for, well, weary travelers. And the servant kind of nods and gives a curtsy and then leaves. And he says, so, obviously, Tanaris, your ladyship, it's great to finally meet you, and all of you, honestly, Alhart Ruesh, Shade Valley, really, that's interesting. How did you come about to live there?
Oh, my family just used to reside there.
That's fascinating. I thought nobody could get into that part of the world because it's too dense, right?
I suppose I think we lived in a pretty open area compared to.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fascinating. You'll have to tell me more about it. I've always wanted to be. In Lothric Wilhelm, I must say thank you for your service to the Empire. At that, you kind of see his face waver as he says it, and then he says, either way, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Your Majesty.
Oh, please, no, call me Oslo.
Sorry about that, it's just a formality.
I get it, of course. Bo, I gotta say, I love the thing that. Do you really not have a surname?
Not that I know of. No.
That's fascinating. And of course, Magnus Centauri, and he looks at you for the first time, and you watch as a look of recognition comes over his face, and he says, "Right, Centauri, I've heard of you. You're the bard that was in Cobalt."
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of, like, give him a look of, like, thank you.
I mean, like, he doesn't really show it, but he can feel it. And he says, yeah, I've heard of your work. Must say, word's getting around. And just that tea begins to be placed out in front of you, and he says, I'm so glad to finally meet you. Listen, I know that for a long time, Tanaris, the Floating Isles have been kind of wary of Liveleqoir, and I must apologize. My ancestors were sort of, and at that you watch as Queen Lilia kind of like does a movement under the table, and he goes, "Hey, right, yep. Anyway, I hope that from now on we can be good friends."
I was thinking the same as well. The Floating Isles would like to kind of reconnect with the mainland, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, from the stories they tell of that whole continent just evaporating and turning into those isles, I can't. It's fascinating.
Yes, I hear the tales as well. Well, from the source, of course.
Yes, of course. Tell me, while you all are here, is there anything specific? Um, I've heard quite a bit of your adventures, and I know that you're looking to do something. Um, Beatrix wrote to me, and she said quite many good things about you. And then, of course, Falmorn said less good things, but that's fine.
Uh, um,
Well, we're actually trying to get passage to the Spectral Islands.
So he's taking a sip of tea, and at that he like, sorry, say that again.
At your request, of course. My party and I, our quarries rather lead us to Theogen on Spectre Isle.
Uh,
Um,
right.
The Great Mage.
we know this comes at a great request, but
He kind of like looks around at the table and he says, "Alright, Lilia, would you take the girls, um, take them out on the town, go shopping?" And he kind of like he leans over to her and says, "Give her, I don't care, no limit this time." And Lilia kind of like her face kind of like lightens up and she gets up very hurriedly and all the girls follow her. And as they exit, he turns to the servant and says, "We need a bit of privacy." And the lady kind of like curtsies and leaves. And he says, I need to get this straight. You all are heading or looking to head to Spectre Island."
that
Yes, my lord.
is correct.
All right. Um. Well, there, there's a wee little issue there. Uh, you see, normally I would say that's perfectly fine. Um, it's just that you're a noble, and Spectre Island, the not only the journey but the island itself is very dangerous. It's surrounded by horrible magics that Iclia used in kind of like looks around and he says in the last war that we waged. Um
You mean the elemental magics?
no. Iclia Iclia was a very powerful nation and they had at the time the most advanced magic of any country. It was their downfall in the end when they tried to sacrifice hundreds of wizards to cast a spell to finally destroy mainland Liveleqoir, but it backfired, and that's why Spectre Island is an island instead of more of the peninsula.
That is quite awful to hear.
I If that weren't the case, I would be happily sending you there. And there's also the issue of the towns themselves. We have to, because it's so dangerous, we have to control how many people can go to and from because I don't want my citizens to die. So we only have 2 towns that allow passage, and they have to have written remarks from me, as you probably already know. But those 2 towns are... We've had a bit of trouble with them.
and how so?
I mean, Clay knows more about it than I do, but as far as I know, one of them has just dropped off the face of the map. No communication in or out for the last couple days. And the other one has something to do with a new group of people or something. I'm not quite sure.
I mean, I personally don't speak on behalf of my party, but I'm certain it's accurate to say that we'd be willing to at least look into it for you if it would help our cause.
I can't ask you to do that.
So, I would like to make it known that the High Wings did request my presence with Phasian.
Aye, alright. It's just, you have to understand I'm concerned for your safety.
Of course, and we greatly appreciate it.
Alright. Well, go talk to Clay. You'll find him probably in the garden tending something. And then, I suppose, come back for the feast. I'm a... Correct me if I'm wrong, you eat only plants, right?
Yes,
Okay,
my lord.
just wanted to be sure. Spectre Island. And he finishes off his tea, and the plate clatters as he sets it back down. The room you're in is it's small. It's just this table and a doorway in and out. But the presence you feel as he sits here is this. He's a king. He's a king in respects of power, but he's a king in respects of he keeps his citizens safe. And with that, he says, "Yeah, right. Go talk to Clay. Daenerys, if you wouldn't mind me and you talking one-on-one."
Yes, that would be ideal, of course.
Right. He kind of like looks at the rest of you.
You guys go talk with Clay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And,
You'll be able to find. He's a short little lad. He's a Earth Genasi.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
just
you
gonna kind of
for your time.
stand up and kind of look at everybody else and heads out.
Bo tips his hat and follows through.
I'm gonna use prestidigitation to push in all the chairs.
Okay. And Lothar?
Yeah, I get up and follow everybody else.
Okay, so as you guys making your way out, as the door closes, Oslo stands up and cracks his knuckles and cracks his neck. And he says, Daenerys, I wanted to address some concerns as he starts stretching. And he reaches
Sure.
into his pocket and pulls out a folded letter and sets it on the table. And he says, he unfolds it and then slides it across as he walks over to you. And you see it is the letter you wrote to Carrick. The first letter. Or Kessid, sorry.
Oh, shit. Let me look for that letter.
About Cobalt and your worries about it.
Okay.
So, let me see if do I have that one. Probably I should.
Is it the big one?
No, it's this one. Hang on. Oh, no, don't do that. Here.
Okay.
So you can see that it's been transcribed. This isn't the original letter. He says, I wanted to address the concerns you have. Now, first of all, I'm sure you're wondering, why do I have this letter?
Yeah. How this come into your possession, my lord?
As he kind of like stands over you and he stretches a little bit more and he says, the Driftmore family deals with all letters in and out of Lenarol. And unfortunately, that means that whatever letters persons of interest send, the Emperor gets to determine whether he gets to see them. What this means, Daenerys, is that the Griftmores brought this to my attention because you, a noble coming to Lenarol out of nowhere, seemingly randomly, and sending a letter back about the way we do things here in Liveleqoir. They were worried that you are not pure of intentions. To be honest, when I invited you to my humble abode, it was because I wanted to get a look at you for myself and see if you truly are a spy, because that is what the Empire would think.
Why?
He looks around, and his voice gets a little bit quieter, and he says, I'm a level with you. The Emperor? The Empire? And he shakes his head. It's not something that I am proud to be a part of. To be honest, Liveleqoir was tricked into being a part of it. And while it is fortuitous for the people of my country, because after all, if we denied, the rest of the Empire would simply wage war on our lands. I do not agree with the way they do things, because the Emperor himself, and he looks around again, that man is corrupt to the core.
From the research that I've done, I'd have to agree with you.
However, the way the correspondence works with letters is that they get sent to the highest ranking official in the state wherever they're found. So I intercepted this before it could get back. Because this, and he like puts his hand over it. This could be means for war with all of Eurathia.
And Daenerys at that kind of like quivers in her seat.
Now, I don't know if I have to tell you this, but this very city you're standing in, the reason it was built and kept was to make sure that any invading forces from Eurathia would meet a swift demise. And I know,
Right.
I believe you know that. I believe that you know that I am entombed with magic of earth, and that is a strong counter to your people.
Just like the war all those years ago.
Right. Daenerys, I have seen enough bloodshed. You have to understand that I am a king, but I am a father and a man first. I believe you're truly good at heart. But I cannot for the life of me think of a way, if this gets out, to save you.
Do you know if it's gotten out anywhere else?
To be honest, I had the first copies incinerated. This is the only one that remains. And as he says that, he picks it up and rips it up. And now, the only one that remains is the one that went back to the Floating Isles. And the ones that are in your and my head.
Have you corresponded with the Floating Isle since the Litta?
He shakes his head.
Daenerys takes a deep breath and sighs. What would you advise me to do, Your Majesty?
Stop writing letters like this. It's dangerous. Be careful how you phrase things. And
Yes, of course.
I want to make this very clear to Daenerys. And he kind of like straightens up and he starts like, you can see he starts looming over you. He says, you may be nobility, but you're still a guest here. The way things are
Understand.
done here have nothing to do with where you're from. Take that into account first.
Yes, of course, my lord.
Alright. I would like you to know also that I do handpick every matron. I make sure they're good people before I put them into office.
Absolutely.
Much like a mage say, you're a good person. And he stretches again and sits back down and he says, "Now, do you have any questions for me?"
Well, I was wondering if that letter would make its way up to you. Have you heard anything from the city of Cobalt since that letter's sending?
I'm afraid I don't know what you mean.
Like, any letters, any correspondence?
From Cobalt?
Yes.
I mean, Beatrix gives us the occasional report from time to time, but other than that, no.
Well, did she tell you of the creatures, the situations that are happening?
Yes. Yeah, to be honest, I read that maybe 4 or 5 times. I still can't quite wrap my head around it.
We came across a meeting where they were discussing this, my lord.
You mean Abe and the one called Malachi?
Yes, my lord.
I read about it. Tell me, Daenerys, do you think that there is something bigger here at play? Something that I need to be worried about?
Absolutely. I would like to notify my own royal house, because I'm kind of afraid, my lord.
He nods and he says, "Well, talk to Clay. He can get whatever letter you want sent back. I can promise you this. If you do handle whatever is going on in the towns, I can assure you you're probably strong enough to go to Spectre Isle. It's just that I worry for your own safety. Because once again...
Patriots.
Sorry,
go ahead, my lord.
It's just that if you fall here, and it was at the request of the king, that's gonna look real bad, and I can't stand another war.
Then the reverse would be true. She kind of giggles.
Yeah. Right, well, I think that's it. So, go catch up with your little party, I suppose. I have some orders to give, and a feast to prepare.
Yes, my lord.
Thank you
and
for your
she
time,
leaves
Daenerys.
Thank you for your time, my lord.
So, do you leave?
Yeah, she leaves and goes towards the party.
So as you close the door, you hear, "I don't understand why they can't just call me Oslo."
Oh.
Formalities.
That is where we'll end tonight's session.
What?
Because you all met the king, you may level up.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! So, oh no.
So,
Oh no.
Before we end tonight's session, I would like to send a couple things to, let's see, so it'd be Daenerys, Magnus. No, it wouldn't be Magnus.
Yeah, gimme.
Give me a man after midnight.
What changes with level 4? Anything?
I think it's an attribute increase, which I don't know what that means.
So you can increase like scores, ability scores, or you can take a feat. But I have a little something extra that you all will have to discover when you use certain things. However, Daenerys tonight did use hers and figured it out. So, Daenerys, real quick, you felt the magic in your robe get a little bit stronger. And as you noticed it, and as you began to take into account what was happening, over time, over the last hour, you've become reattuned with it. and you learn that your cloak is, and this should stay in the stream or in the VOD because this is important. Your cloak is an heirloom item, which means that it can only be used by a member of the House Dorathian, and as you progress in levels, it will get stronger.
My God, that is so cool.
I'm going to tell you what happens now.
Oh, my HP went up too.
Holy shit.
That's
The
awesome.
alert feat gains a +5 to initiative.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy.
Honestly.
This is where I wanted to talk to you, Cole, about feats.
I can
Yeah,
I can
you
help
can
you
go
with
through
feats if you need
'Cause
it.
I wanted something that would benefit Lothric a lot, but like I don't know.
I only have like 2.
So, with that, we will end tonight's session. Thank you all so much for watching and joining us. I would like to do a quick disclaimer. Any and all music you heard during tonight's episode was made by the wonderful Michael Gelfi. That's Michaelghelfi. Check him out on YouTube and on Spotify. He does wonderful composing and amazing music. Also, all of the art you see on screen, except for the maps of Roll20, was made by the wonderful Alice, the player of Magnus. She's amazing. Check out her other content because she does a great deal of many things, and they're all very good.
Thanks, Dad.
With that, that is the end of my spiel. Thank you all so much for watching.
Hell yeah, dude. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and like follow on Twitch because that's important. Super important.
Fucking teabag that bell, dog.
Oh,
Fuck.
wait.
Yeah.
Hang on. Shout out to, because this is the only one that I really saw this time, to Billy One Shot for following on Twitch.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey,
Oh, Billy One Shot.
Thank you, Billy One Shot. I don't know who you are, but I like your name because One Shot is. Yep.
Honestly, it's my uncle.
Anyways,
your
thank you
uncle?
everybody so much for
Yeah.
watching, and we hope you have a great night and join us next time.
Thank you.
Bye!
Bye.
Oh my god, bye!
Bye, stream.